For centuries, a deadly secret lay hidden beneath the sands. A secret not meant for the eyes of mortal men. For this is a story that should have never been told. Together, we must embark on an epic journey to save this realm from the darkness threatening to consume all we hold dear in the burning flames of oblivion. For the fate of the world lay in the hands of one man, and that man was you. For this is 100 days in RLCRAFT. No! What's happened? The balloon! Where am I? My God, it's a dragon! I've got to get to shore. I need to get away from here. Oh my God. I've got to survive. So, as usual, I started my journey by cutting a tree, which didn't actually really work this time. So, time to make some tools. For this, I'd need some sticks, rocks, and flint, I think. Cool, okay, this little creature here seems to heal you, so I'll definitely be remembering that. And then I saw this. So I clearly have no clue what is going on, but clearly the water I just come from is like not safe at all. And I found this little random furnace and these random armor stands as well in the water, which I thought was like really strange, but I thought, okay, I'll just take them. I'll take whatever I can get at this point, to be honest. Then, of course, I can't actually wear them yet. You know, who was I kidding? This is RLCRAFT after all. And, you know, and already now it's like nightfall coming. I tried to make some torches, but no, of course, this is RLCRAFT, so that wasn't going to be easy, was it? So I just thought, you know what, I'll just try and find shelter for now. And luckily there's this like old abandoned little hut on the beach over here, so I just thought I'll hide in here. But then it got dark, I heard like all these strange noises, and as they say, curiosity killed the cat, and this big like pelican thing just grabbed me through the wall and just like, well, that was the end of me. Nowhere was safe. I was hunted far across the lands until finally, morning broke. I almost thought it to be a mirage. Had I found civilization? Would I find help? In my desperation, I climbed aboard their boat and, well, ransacked it, to be honest. I thought I'd get a good view from the mast. And this is what I saw. I met a kind innkeeper named Tobias, but he had some troubling words to say about what I'd seen. Adventurer, if what you say is true, I fear the prophecy may be unfolding. Alas, I've said too much already. Take respite at my inn. Please, as long as you need. I couldn't help but wonder what he was talking about. A prophecy? This was troubling indeed, but I needed a rest. There was a storm brewing outside. I couldn't help but wonder, was this an omen of what was to come? Only time will tell. After a night's rest, it was a beautiful day outside and I went exploring. It was day 4, and I found this dilapidated battle tower. But the spawners actually didn't seem to be working, so it was basically just a ton of free XP. I kind of felt like I was cheating, but I'm like, well, if nothing's spawning, like, what can I do? So, you know, I'm not going to argue, I'm not going to, like, hate on it. And I got to the top, and I wasn't sure if there was going to be like a golem or anything, but I think because this one was a dilapidated one, there was just 2 spawners at the top. There was like a bit left of the day at this point, and I thought, you know what, like I'll take around a quick look of this village, and as soon as I decided to go home, this happened. That's right, it's a blood moon. So I know I didn't have time to get home, and I thought, you know what, like what's the difference? I'm either going to hide at home, I'm going to hide here. So I'm just going to hide in this village. I cut out a few little holes in the walls, and then I just kept sneaking out like the front and back door, and I actually survived until morning. There was this like huge lion, there were these weird bird things, and I was hearing only God knows what kinds of hellish noises outside. But I thought if I just keep peeking out and killing stuff, like I actually done okay. Like honestly, I don't know how I done it. And then I sprinted home with all my loot, which at this point was actually quite a lot. And that was the end of day 4. It was the next day, and I had so many questions. What of the prophecy? I knew if I needed answers, I would have to venture forth into the unknown. Tobias told me of a nearby abandoned fortress that I may take refuge in. And from there, I started my adventure. I tried harvesting some wheat, and then this huge thing popped out at me, and I thought, oh, okay, like, I'll just run. It can't find me in here. I hid behind this pillar, and then I peeked out from behind it, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was inside my base. And then, of course, before I knew it, I was dead. How embarrassing for me. So I thought, you know what, big brain, light bulb moment. I'm just going to try and survive the night outside my base, where there's just mostly zombies and stuff. Anything big and scary, I could just run for my life and hopefully I'll be okay. And actually, it worked. I got 11 levels to upgrade my shield skill, which means I've now unlocked the Iron Skin skill, which means I can, each level of it, you reduce damage taken by 5%, which is huge. Then I thought, right, I need to get all my old stuff from the old base. So day 6, I spent the entire day going back and forth, which you'd think I'd know what I'm doing by now. I've done it like 5 times. And yeah, night fell. Oh, and by the way, I found this flour mill full of iron blocks. So if you do find one of these cities, try and find this building. Anyway, night fell, and this evil spawn of Satan demon dog spawned and killed me 666 times. That's right, the number of the devil. So once I'd finally survived all of that, I then made it to the river, where there was another evil spawn of Satan demon dog waiting, guarding the passage to the motherland. And then I saw one of the boats docked and thought, oh, I can just like jump across. But no, of course, the water itself is alive, and these elementals weighed me down, and I sank to the bottom and drowned another 10 times. So then running back, I was confronted by that demon dog again, and I've realised, like, oh, I could just keep hitting it because it's below me and it can't get me. So I just thought, haha, I win, you lose. But no, RLCRAFT always wins, and I'm always a big, fat, stinky loser. So, of course, a Grim Reaper spawned. After 5 million more tries, I was then finally able to get some of my stuff back, and sunrise had arrived, and then I lived happily ever after. The end. No, just joking. Then it's time for day 7, which obviously is just me trying to get home the entire day. And I realised I'm on the wrong island and I've made a wrong turn. But I did find this cool dungeon, which we're definitely going to come back to. So as soon as I realised that, I thought, okay, right, I think I know the way to get home now. And then the mermaids tried singing me out to sea like some sort of dirty sailor. And I managed to escape. It must be like a duration thing. I thought they just got you forever, and I thought I was damned, but I obviously wasn't. And then I made home. And then day 8 just looked like this, with velociraptors, or ventoraptors, sorry, spawn camping my base. So that was fun. Day 12. I realised the savannah where I'd been living was just way too hot, and I couldn't even leave my house without literally bursting into flames. So, ta-da! This isn't even far away, but apparently if you live in like a woodland area, you can survive the winter and the summer without going outside and getting burnt. So it's like an all-round good seasonal place. And it's quite flat, I found this one just a few hundred blocks away, and it's like on this cute little river. I haven't gone any further yet, so I don't know if this river goes anywhere. But it's a little house, and this is where we're going to live, okay? I managed to transfer my stuff over in the few days that I'd done it. So, welcome to my crib! Let's have a look inside. So, this is the entrance hall. I might put some little leaves in that here. And you'll notice there's a buzzing happening. Da-na-na-na-na-na. That's right, very spooky, isn't it? So I didn't actually realise this until I was like halfway through building it. But yeah, as you can see, there's something going on in here. So let's have a look if we can... Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh gosh. Okay. It's a spawner. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I've got no food on me. I've got no bandages. No, I didn't really think this through, did I? Wait, let's close it back up. Maybe I should make some bandages and stuff because I still need to make a garden. So I think we'd put the garden... I mean, there's all water here. So I could put like an aloe garden and stuff here. Oh my god. Yeah. The Vespid got me. Oh my god, oh my god. Ah! Where did I die? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is not good. They really have a big range, don't they? They really have a big range. And they can fit through... I was thinking that they just wouldn't be able to fit through the one hole and I'd be absolutely fine. What is that? Veswax? Day 13. And just like Little Red Riding Hood, I thought I was safe in my forest abode. But then, the aberrants launched their attack. I tried boarding up the windows, and it was too late. I tried desperately gathering anything from my bedroom death point, where the bodies were piling up, all my bodies, and it was just useless. It went on for about 30 minutes until either most of them had despawned, or there was only a few left, and then I just meleeed them down with my fists. And then after all of that was over, I was like, right, I have got to rush out and try and making this house safe a top priority. But silly old me kept chopping that wood right into the night when this huge bird daddy picked me up and flew off of me. Now I'm up here. Up we go, I guess. Oh my god, all my stuff. I was doing so well. I just really want to get, like, what is that? Oh my god, what is that? There's flames coming off it. I just want to get level 22 so I can get the next level of the skill that means Iron Skin, so that I take 5% less damage. I mean, I feel like I don't need to explain why I need that. I mean, just look how this is going. See, this is what I want though, just loads of zombies and stuff. I've got to go back out there. I need that experience. Oh, well, I've used all the plasters I've just made. It's the only way. I've got to kill Daddy Longlegs. No, there is something wrong about that. That is not, what is that? Who are you? Who are you? I feel like the rocks can get you through the roof. But it was okay, because I was a survivor. From the day I washed up on this shore, I knew I had a purpose. And so I spent the next 5 days preparing supplies, for it was time for me to take the fight to the hordes of the undead themselves. Knowing I had sunlight to my advantage, just like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I made my advance. The zombie horde was relentless, but so was I. I slew them. Merciless in my assault, I struck them down one by one, each and every single one. By this point, I was engorged with experience and managed to level up a few more skills. My plan had paid off. I was stronger than ever, and I was ready for what came next. Day 21, I found another easy peasy lemon squeezy dungeon. This one was a sandstone pit full of spiders and appeared to be a labyrinth, and if I'm honest with you, I don't think I actually ever really made it to the final loot, but I did find some really cool stuff. The cave spider's poison was more annoying than anything, and one actually dropped a bazaar, and I thought, wow-wee, I'm just like Harry Potter. It's insane. Like, just look at the stats on this thing. This alone is a complete game changer. So I ran home, realising how strong I was now becoming. I thought, time to put my pest control hat on and show these Vespids who's boss. So I cleared them all out, and then I looted these cool sunglasses, and I was like, holy heck! I'm actually now immune to blindness as well as poison. And I thought, oh my god, like, things are actually finally starting to take a turn, not a turn for the worst, but an actually turn for the better. Which is actually quite unheard of so far in my RLCRAFT journey. So I thought, okay, I think I'm ready to hit the battle towers. Wow, okay, so that was insane. Now I'm finally back home. Let's have a look at what I actually managed to get and upgrade. So, first of all, I have an extra 2 hearts from heart canisters, and we're now 3 out of 5 iron skin. So that is a lot of survivability we've added. 2 out of 5 random crits, and 4 out of 10 melee damage. So my attack is way up as well. It's such an improvement. And apart from that, we now have 12 building, which means I can place an anvil, which is, if you're asking me, a game changer. Day 31. I decided it was time for more exploring and more adventuring. Who would have thought? I came across this Aztec-looking temple and saw a cheeky little battle tower in the distance. And then, I went round the front, found the way in, when the troll that your parents warned you about, living under that bridge, finally came out and found me, all these years later. Once inside, I found remains, along with a diary, naming the dragon as Nelfarius. But who was the Red Devil? I must press on. So I went over to the battle tower, and then behind it was this huge mansion, and it was specifically perfect looking. It was so pristine, and I did think, ooh, shall I move my base here? And then I thought, no, you've been moving your base every 10 days. Don't do it again. Your base is fine. So I somehow resisted that urge to move yet again. And then I did find this bell that says to call for Charles, but I don't know who he is and there was nothing really down here. So let me know in the comments if you know what this was all about. I really feel like I'm missing something here, but I don't really understand. Anyway, I finally went over to the battle tower and I actually saw the first one I finally found with a golem at the top. And I thought, okay, let's try my luck. You don't know until you try. Obviously, it did actually kill me, but I just managed to run back, shift crouch to then pick up all my stuff really quickly because it was all in one spot. And actually, the golem went down pretty easily. I just kept hacking away at it and it probably died within like 5 or 6 hits. So it does prove that sometimes offense is the best defense. And the loot was amazing. I think I got like a few blocks of diamonds and maybe a few emeralds and just bits like that were really helpful. Not that I could really use diamonds yet. It was now day 33, and I'd spent 2 days hunting down the elusive Aegises in the hope of one day gaining enough knowledge to summon my own. Until the hunter had become the hunted. From within the desert sands, swarms of raptors emerged, and I ran as fast as my legs would let me, finally taking refuge inside a nearby village. Would I survive the night? Okay, so it's no longer spawning them. That didn't last long. Oh, they're still out there. Oh, before I die, there we go. I was trying to get magic 12 so that I can place down my enchanting table. And then next, I want to get 12 defense. Is it 12 or 16? 16. 16 defense, 16 attack, and 16 mining. And I guess 16 gathering for the axe, but that doesn't matter so much. These have got to go. Oh my god. These have got to go. No, no, no. Can't have those raptors opening up these pressure plates now. And let's do what I done on day like 5 or 8 or whatever it was. This could be great XP if I could just get them. Oh, nice. Oh, you ain't nice. After all of that, I thought, right, I think I've done quite enough exploring and adventuring for, well, 2 days. So I thought I need to get home before I start getting greedy with all this and I just lose absolutely everything. And thank God I did, because the second, and I mean literally the second, I got home, a blood moon started. And once again, my house was being invaded. This time, however, it was absolutely hilarious. I cut a few holes in the wall and I thought I'll just do the same thing I done when I survived that first blood moon earlier on. You know, just cut a few holes and I'll be fine. However, the zombies were banging down the front door and I had to keep like quickly opening the door and then shutting it, which like the breakage percentage would like reset, which like let a mob or two through, which was fine. And then as all that was going on, I suddenly heard they're breaking down the back door as well. So I ran to the back door and kind of tried getting greedy and just trying to get loads of XP, if I'm honest. And then I eventually boarded it up. But then when I turned back around, the front door had been completely busted down, just like the FBI. And at that point, all hell broke loose. And oh my god, it was the funniest. I think this was my favourite part of this playthrough so far, because I felt pretty safe. Like, I was just slaughtering them, but it was so chaotic and it was still quite dangerous and my adrenaline was running and it was just like, it was just so manic and it was just so funny. Like, it was literally hysterical. I did only manage to die once, which was basically in the morning anyway, so that's fine. And I did also manage to get 16 defense. I was pretty clever. I thought, right, you know, I could die at any minute here, so I'm just going to keep making sure that I add my defense levels when I can. And I did, which means 16 defense, diamond armor. So, when I was killing the Aegises, one thing I did actually forget to say is that I also got Magic 12. Well, no, that was when I was doing the Raptor Rampage, and I'd done the same thing. I thought, right, let's use my experience while I've still got it and I'm not dead. And Magic 12 gets me the enchanting table. And while I can't really enchant anything yet, as I don't really have any XP left after all that, I can enchant when I do have the XP, which is amazing. I mean, I didn't really have any enchants really on my iron gear anyway, so the fact that I've just got plain diamond gear, like, oh my god, I'm so excited. My next steps are going to be diamond weapons, which is 16 attack, and then also 16 mining, which means a diamond pickaxe. And with that, which would be really cool, is going to be that I can put efficiency on it, once I get efficiency, and then I can break spawners really quickly if I need to, so that could be really helpful. And that, my friends, is the end of Chapter 4. Day 39, and I had an unexpected visitor. Tobias, what are you doing here? I had to come, my friend. We are all in grave danger. It is time you knew the truth of this land. Long ago, my people were adventurers like yourself, and one day, we found an artifact buried deep within the desert sands. It whispered to us, leading us to a gateway. It was a key, and we unlocked the door to an unspeakable evil. It took all of our power to lock that evil away. But if the dragon Nelfarius is back, then it can only mean one thing. That evil has returned. There was, however, a prophecy. One day, on the eve of our downfall, it was said that a lone wanderer would grace our shores. And if it is to be believed, then that stranger may be you, but we must be sure. Nelfarius may be the greatest threat to our lands, but there are others. In the depths of the ocean, there lie the Tide Guardians. Then, hidden away deep within the mountains, there is an almighty prison, of which the evil within seeps out to infect the very land around it. These evils have troubled our lands for many years, adventurer. If you can defeat them, then I believe you may just be strong enough to take on Nelfarius himself and deliver us all to salvation. Day 40. I made the bauble reforging station, which means that you can use XP to make your baubles even more super duper. If you're lucky. What you want is undying, like my bezoar. However you pronounce it, I don't know. But of course, that actually may take a lot of time, and I don't really have enough XP for that. But now I've got the bauble reforging station at least, it's time to take on a roguelike. Day 41. I made my descent into the bowels of the labyrinth. I can only imagine what horrors might await me. As I hacked and I slashed my way down the dark and foreboding corridors, treasure, already. And what a haul it was. I knew that it was worth the risk. I soon came to realise, though, that this place was indeed a death trap. As I came face to face with an unspeakable horror, I barricaded the corridor before the hordes could overwhelm me. This time, however, they were armoured and much stronger than the previous zombie encampment I had encountered. And eventually I gave up. They were too strong. There were too many of them, and their armour was equally thick. And by day 42, I was ready to go down, deeper into the belly of the beast. It was there that I was greeted by this dark, square room, where they poured forth in droves. But as my skills and strength had improved, the quicker and braver I had become. It was still no small task. However, I was again victorious. This time, I had gained wither bones, and therefore I could make a dragon sword. And with the third and final ghast tier I needed to upgrade my summoning staff, I could now summon double the amount of Aegises to protect me. And therefore it was now time for level 3 of this godforsaken labyrinth. This level was actually quite bare, and there really wasn't much here, and I had noticed that my XP was getting a lot higher though. And I was working towards attack 24 so that I can actually use the dragon sword that I was making. And so I realised if I could get my agility up, I could also get a skill where I'd get a strength buff on kill. At this point, I'd been living down in the roguelike dungeon for about 100 years, and it was probably a good point to come up and, regroup. So I went back up home and made the summoning staff. Well, the better one. I had to make a new one to make the better one because you can't use the one that's had a durability loss. And I tried it out on the front lawn, which was so exciting. 4 Aegises is that's insane. That's a lot, But time for level 4 of this place, and this was horrific. I was wondering if at this point I'd actually gone too deep. There were hundreds of witches, vexes, cobwebs everywhere, evokers. I got hit with this witch poison called Perplexity, and it lasted about a minute, and basically what it does is it makes up, down is up, jump is sneak, sneak is jump, etc. It was evil. Eventually, once that had run out, however, I then just decided, you know what, it is time to go home. And I swore to return to loot the labyrinth. Considering how much stronger I had actually now become, and the XP was the main barrier to furthering my strength, I thought, I'll seek out a few battle towers. Surely they would be less of a challenge now, and I was right, and thank God I was, because I actually had to seek refuge in one from this dragon that appeared, and luckily, nothing really happened, but as I went down, there was this ridiculously hard-to-kill skeleton who had "you can't run" in his name, so it was almost like he knew. But luckily, I now had 4 Aegises, and the rest of the tower was fairly easy, at which point I then had a ton of XP, perfect timing before trying the golem to get 4 out of 5 iron skin, and I took totems of undying, golden apples, etc. But actually, the golem was a joke. The loot, however, was not. So in my next tower, I actually found this dungeon, and it was built into the side of the tower, deep down, and this was an underground tower. And I wanted to go home first and make sure I was prepared for that. Now that I was, yet again, stronger than ever, it was time to go back to the battle tower that had the dungeon within the battle tower to explore that dungeon. This place was crazy, but unlike the previous roguelikes, this one was open plan and you could actually move a lot more, but I have never seen so many mobs in my life. There were these huge lava things, there was all sorts of demons. Literally, by the end, all I could do was wall myself in and dig up to the surface. I'm happy with what I got, but it's time to go home. But then, I thought, you know what, with all my upgrades that I've now got, my skills are a lot better, I'd upgraded my attack again, I think I was 4 or 5 out of 10 attack damage now. I thought, I've actually gotten a lot stronger just by doing these battle towers in this labyrinth. Maybe it was time to venture further yet into the unknown. Day 55, and I've continued my search for more battle towers to plunder for power, but I was swarmed by huge wasps, and it truly was the revenge of the Vespids. I couldn't even get close, and they're building this huge hive thing in the sky, so I thought, okay, I think I'm just going to keep exploring, and you know what, I'm glad I did, because what I then found next was even more exciting. This was what I called the Great Pillager Gauntlet of Horror. So, it started off easy, there are a few skeletons, zombies, vindicators, or whatever they're called, and you basically have to work your way around the base. It's, it's all one direction, and eventually I pushed through the main house and into the courtyard where I was greeted by wither skeletons. All that was still fine, and then once that was all cleared, I started my ascent up the towers, and before I knew it, I had found what would soon become my sworn enemy, witches. Now, the actual reason I hate witches now is kind of my own fault, and I really would love to know your guys' opinion on this. So, as we're going around, and you're going to see this a lot in the next place I go to as well, so keep on watching for that, it's going to get even worse. What am I talking about, you may ask? It's fire spread. Now, I'm really considering turning this off for the next 100 days. Yes, spoiler alert, there is going to be a 100 to 200 days. Because the thing is, like in these dungeons, it makes it so difficult to progress because you can't even place or break blocks in some of them to prevent cheating, obviously. But that means that when the stairs are then destroyed, you're kind of like, oh, I'm stuck. And I did finally get higher, but there's these creeper rooms with TNT everywhere. So, you know, whether there's fire spread or not, this place is getting blown to smithereens. Including me, because now I'm somehow on the roof, and now I'm in the courtyard, and now I'm up here. I don't even know what this thing is. Oh my god. So I eventually killed whatever that thing was, and now I'm back down here, and it's even more chaotic. Oh my god. But yeah, I did eventually make it to the top. At which point we're at day 62, and honestly the loot was really not that interesting. But after another 3 days exploring, I found an even crazier pillager outpost which we'll call the Super Great Pillager Doomsday Gauntlet of Hellish Proportions 2.0. And when I say this place was a labyrinth, I mean it. It was incredibly huge. I'm going up, down, left and right, into the basement, up some stairs, into some random tower. I didn't have a clue what was going on. But in I went like the sacrificial lamb I am. Now, unfortunately, I didn't really get to see what loot was actually in here, and I'm suspecting it was probably quite good because this place was ginormous. Like I said before, the fire spread. So the entire place has basically burned to the ground with me inside it, and unfortunately without a flying mount, I literally have got no way of getting up to the higher levels. And this is one of those ones, again, like I mentioned before, where you can't place or break blocks, so I can't pillar up or anything. So I kind of just watched it all burn to the ground, just like Teldrassil. If anyone plays WoW, you'll understand that reference. And yeah, then I left, really, and by the time that was all over, it was day 70. Stranded. The city, the towers, the Astaroth, the undead hordes, the unknown, the raptors, the blood moons, and the downfall of the pillagers had all led to this final chapter. Considering how little the amount of loot I had really gained over the last 10 days, I decided it was time to pay my friends at the city a visit, as I knew they had some librarians that would trade with me for supplies. I had a long journey ahead of me, and it wasn't long until my plans were thrown into chaos once more. As I approached the sea, a terrible storm was brewing, a bad omen, to say the least. But alas, I set sail, and before long, it was starting to get dark, and I decided to take refuge on a small ship, seemingly abandoned. But it was then that I found myself in the heart of the storm. However, this was no normal storm at all, for it was a sharknado. They were countless in numbers. I tried to swim desperately to the shore, but they caught me, plunging me into their whirlpool and nearly drowning me just meters from the shoreline. All I could do was hide, but I had made it. The city was in sight. I ran, straight for Tobias's inn that I once called home. I was safe now, resting for the night. When I awoke, I realised I was safe no more, surrounded by flames, an inferno. I ran outside. I had no choice but to run. My God, the entire city is in flames! It was Nelfarius. He had torn the city asunder. I had no choice but to head for the river once more. Fueled with rage, I was powerless to stop this, the unbridled destruction. But wait, the prophecy. What was it Tobias said that day? Pass the tests, adventurer. You are the one. And so, I headed to the lair of the Tide Guardians. My armour already prepared with the enchantments that was needed. All I had to do was return home briefly and make a few water-breathing potions. It was heavily guarded. The sirens that once hunted me on these shores had now become the hunted. And so, it was time. I plunged myself into the waters. Their minions, no match. The first guardian, an enormous shark. It was him who sent the storm, and so I gave him no mercy. The second, an enormous whale-like creature. I slew it without remorse. And finally, the third Tide Guardian, a huge manta ray. I equally gave it no sympathy. I had done it. I had slain the Tide Guardians. The next 10 days I spent on a long and arduous trail into the mountains. There it was, the prison itself. I took haste, ascending its cruel and twisting corridors until I found the beast within. It was a golem, larger than any I had seen. I knew what must be done. Just like that, it was over. I was strong enough to take on Nelfarius himself. Once and for all, the dragon Nelfarius would meet his end, and it would be by my blade. And so I made my way to the keep. He was there, almost as if he knew. I had no choice but to retreat. The thick smog filled my lungs, my armour scalding my skin from the dragon flame itself. Was in flames. It was no use. He was too powerful. I'm not strong enough. But wait, the river! Of course! And so, finally, here I was, face to face with my enemy. My aegises fought true, swarming the beast. In my desperation, I swam to shore. This time, it was me who was on the offensive. Strike by strike, through the devil's flame itself, I was victorious. The beast let out a mighty roar and fell, lifeless, at my feet. It was finally over. And when I next awoke, it was morning once again. The city in ruins. It seemed there were no survivors. I headed for the house I once called home, but there was nothing left. Was this all my fault? I should have never come to this place. They were all dead because of me. Oh, what was that? Hello? Oh my God. Somebody's alive out there. Thank God I found you, my friend. Adventurer, I am not long for this world. There are survivors on a boat to the south. You must find them and leave this place. There is nothing left for either us here. But you must come. I can't leave you like this. No, listen to me. You must go now. There are things you don't understand. The dragon, Nelfarius. He was but a pawn of a greater evil. It won't be long until more come. You must go now. And so he passed. What did he mean? A pawn? A greater evil? The boat. There was no time to lose. I needed answers. There it was. He was right. There were survivors. Adventurer, you survived. We saw the dragon fall, but we did not know whether you also had fallen in the flames. We set sail in the morning. Will you come with us? It was you who slew Nelfarius. You may be our only hope. I have so many questions. I don't understand. Worry not, adventurer. All will be revealed. Gather your things. We do not have much time. And so, as I looked out over the horizon and onto the sunset, I couldn't help but wonder what would come next.